What began as a celebration, a graduation trip to the sun-kissed beaches of Oaxaca, ended in a scene of unimaginable horror. On March 2nd, 2025, the serene landscape of Mexico was shattered by a discovery that sent shockwaves across the globe. 9 lives extinguished, their bodies dismembered, abandoned in a dark gray Volkswagen Vento on the lonely border between Puebla and Oaxaca. A bag containing 8 pairs of severed hands and 2 more, hidden within the car's trunk. The victims, 4 women and 5 men, their ages ranging from 19 to 30. Their names: Angie Lizeth Perez Garcia, Brenda Mariel Sales Moya, Jacqueline Aylet Mesa Cazares, Noemi Yamileth Lopez Mortia, Leslie Noya Trejo, Raul Emmanuel Gonzalez Lozano, Ruben Antonio Ramos, Rolando Armando Evaristo, and one still unidentified. A chilling tableau of brutality, a mystery that deepened with each passing hour. This wasn't just a murder. This was a statement, a declaration of violence that left authorities scrambling for answers and families broken with grief. These were students, friends, family. They left Tlaxcala, their journey documented by surveillance footage, their Volkswagen Vento captured on the Atlixcala Highway on February 24th. They were headed to Oaxaca to celebrate, to mark the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. But their celebration turned into a nightmare. By February 27th, their families were frantic. No contact, no answers, just silence. A silence that grew louder with each passing hour. The discovery of their vehicle, miles from the coast, in San Jose Mayahuatlan, confirmed their worst fears. This was not a disappearance. This was a crime scene. A scene that spoke of calculated violence, of a brutality that defied comprehension. The victims, their bodies bearing the marks of gunshot wounds and torture, were found dismembered. For in the trunk, 5 under a blood-soaked tarp, the authorities, faced with a scene of unimaginable horror, began their investigation. But the questions remained. What happened between the sun-drenched beaches of Oaxaca and the desolate stretch of highway? And why? The investigation was a labyrinth of conflicting narratives and unanswered questions. The initial report indicated that the victims were the missing students from Tlaxcala, but the sheer brutality of the crime scene suggested something far more sinister. The victims, aged between 19 and 30, were not simply murdered. They were executed, their bodies dismembered, their hands severed. A chilling act of violence that spoke of a calculated message. But who was the intended recipient? And what was the message? The families, desperate for answers, were left in a state of shock and disbelief. Jacqueline Aylet Mesa Cazares' mother, her voice trembling, pleaded on Facebook. "My daughter disappeared last night on a beach in Huatulco. Someone took her." Leslie Noya Trejo's mother, her words a raw expression of grief, admitted she was no longer lucid enough to comprehend what was happening. The reality, she said, was too cruel. And then a cryptic statement. She trusted the wrong person. A statement that deepened the mystery, that hinted at a betrayal, at a trust misplaced. The authorities, tight-lipped, offered little information. The crime scene, a grim tableau of violence, took hours to process. The forensic examination, a painstaking process, revealed the extent of the brutality. But the answers remained elusive. The question that hung heavy in the air: what happened during their vacation? What turned a celebration into a massacre? Then a twist. A survivor. Brenda Salas Moya, 19, a close friend of Angie Lizeth Perez Garcia. Her testimony a bombshell. She claimed that she and Angie were abducted by city police agents outside the Hosp Jaca Hotel in Huatulco on February 26th. "They forced us into a patrol car," she said. "They kidnapped us." Her words, a chilling accusation. But why her? Why did she survive while Angie did not? The prosecutor's office, silent. No details about her rescue. No confirmation of her testimony's veracity. Governor Solomon Jara, under public pressure, stated that the case was still under investigation. The officers accused by Brenda remained unidentified. But the implications were clear. If Brenda's accusations were true, the investigation took on a new, sinister dimension. The possibility of police involvement, of a betrayal from within, cast a dark shadow over the entire case. The public, already reeling from the brutality of the crime, was left to grapple with a new, terrifying possibility. Who could be trusted? And what was the truth? And then another twist. The hotel, where Brenda and Angie were allegedly abducted, was owned by Jose Lavara, a man with alleged ties to organized crime. A man who was shot dead on March 2nd, the same day the victims were found. A coincidence? or a connection. Reports surfaced, alleging that the victims were members of a criminal organization led by Lavara, the Los Zacapoaxtlas. Allegations of robberies, of a $199,000 theft from a Santander bank, of an attempted ATM robbery. The victims, not innocent tourists, but criminals. A shocking accusation, vehemently denied by Angie Lizette's mother. "My daughter had nothing to do with that group," she said. "If there were a real and serious investigation, I'm sure many things would be uncovered." But the allegations persisted. A police source, speaking to Mexican media, claimed that the group had arrived in Oaxaca in mid-February and engaged in criminal activities. A note, found at the scene where Lavara was killed, read, "This is the price thieves must pay." A chilling message, a possible motive. But who was telling the truth? And what was the real story? Mexican officials, faced with conflicting narratives and mounting public pressure, presented a new theory. An official from the prosecutor's office, speaking to the Daily Mail, claimed that Lavara had invited the victims to Oaxaca and that they had asked him if they could steal and engage in other criminal activities. Lavara, according to this theory, had given them permission. But their actions, their looting of stores, had angered a rival criminal group involved in drug trafficking. A territory war, a violation of an unspoken rule. Avoid committing crimes that directly impact local residents. The victims, looting in a rival gang's territory, had crossed a line that led to their brutal execution. The dismembered bodies, a message, a warning, a chilling reminder of the brutal reality of organized crime in Mexico. But was this the truth, or just another layer of deception? The investigation, now months deep, continued to unravel a tangled web of violence and conflicting narratives. The Oaxaca prosecutor's office, under intense scrutiny, focused on a settling of scores between criminal groups as the primary line of inquiry. One detainee, identified as LEVS, was in custody, his testimony painting a grim picture of the victims' alleged involvement in robberies. According to his account, the 9 students were not innocent tourists, but active participants in criminal activities, their actions leading to their brutal demise. But the investigation didn't stop there. The potential involvement of Huatulco police officers, a dark shadow cast by Brenda Salas Moya's testimony, remained a crucial line of inquiry. Authorities were meticulously checking the officers' weapons, searching for any connection to the crime. The question lingered: were the police involved, either directly or indirectly, in the massacre? Or was this a purely cartel-driven execution, a brutal display of power and territorial control? The massacre of the 9 students was not an isolated incident. It was a stark reminder of the pervasive violence that gripped Mexico. Gang disputes, fueled by the lucrative drug trade, were intensifying. The lethality rate of clashes between non-state armed groups had surged, a grim testament to the escalating brutality. Criminal groups were increasingly resorting to explosives and remote violence, their methods becoming more sophisticated, more devastating. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, capitalizing on the fragmentation of the Sinaloa cartel, was expanding its control, their influence spreading like a dark stain across the nation. Mexico, a nation under siege. The violence, a constant threat, a daily reality. The 9 students, their lives cut short, became a symbol of this brutal reality, a stark reminder of the cost of unchecked violence. And so we arrive at a chilling crossroads. 9 lives, brutally taken, their story a twisted labyrinth of conflicting narratives and unanswered questions. The official line, a settling of scores, clashes with the survivors' haunting allegations of police involvement. A detainee's testimony paints a dark portrait of the victims, while their families cry out for justice. The specter of corruption, the brutal reality of cartel violence, and the elusive pursuit of truth hang heavy in the air. We've laid out the facts, the theories, the conflicting accounts. But the investigation continues, and the truth remains shrouded in shadow. Now, we turn to you. What do you think happened on that desolate stretch of highway? Do you believe the official narrative? Or does the survivor's testimony ring true? What are your theories? What details do you find most unsettling? We want to hear your voices. Share your thoughts, your insights, your theories in the comments below. Let's dissect this case piece by piece and work together to demand answers. Every comment, every perspective brings us one step closer to the truth. And if you want to stay updated on this ongoing investigation, if you want to be part of the conversation, subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know when we release new information. Because this story is far from over. And we want rest until justice is served. Let's keep their memory alive. Let's demand accountability. Let's find the truth together. That's the end of the video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you more valuable content. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.